Welcome. I'm Mel Schaefer. Thank you for joining us. Today I'm chatting with Justin Roberti, the co-founder of Lambo, the meme coin for entrepreneurs and builders. He's also a writer, producer, and a friend of mine. Thanks for joining me today, Justin.
Hi, Mel. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So you're really, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many others, an expert on meme coins, and I know how passionate you are about the space and crypto in general. What brought you to the meme coin space, and what kind of keeps you excited about them?
I love this question because the reality is, between you and I and the internet, what brought me into the space was the number of times I would do an interview with a serious pundit. Oh, the Fox News financial crowd, the crossover guys, Grayscale, stuff like that. And whenever I asked any of the higher powered people, not just degens, but investors and people who are doing crossover investing strategy, they were always so roundly dismissive of meme coins that I started to make it kind of a joke at the end if I was going to interview one of those characters, to ask them, what they thought of Doge at the end or something, just to see what kind of flippant response I could evince out of them. And it made me curious, and then I was working with another entity that was running a meme coin show on Twitter Spaces. I do a lot of Twitter Spaces hosting. We had pretty much the biggest meme coin show on Spaces. And that got me involved in kind of a deeper way. And I found that, it's just simple math. When I have BNB Chain on, right? And I guess BNB Chain can live with Justin calling them out. They'll be fine. As long as I'm always punching up. If I have them on with their 2.5 million followers or whatever, I'll get a certain number of people coming to my show, right? But I could have a meme coin come onto my Spaces with 10,000 followers and bring on more enthusiasm leading up to the show and more people to the actual show than these huge projects, than Tron, BNB, Grayscale, as I had mentioned before, really big companies that have kind of graduated from the crypto world into being just other big tech companies, essentially, big entities. And I thought, what is going on here that meme coins, A, seem to annoy everyone with their existence, and B, seem to have a relationship with their supporters that is unlike any other community relationship I've seen out there. And if they're that good at turning their audience out, and if you do a lot of shows, my background was originally in theater before I got into writing. I have an MFA in playwriting, right? And so I have a keen interest in what gets people to butts and seats, as we used to say, what gets people to turn out for a show. And I thought, their meme coins are definitely doing something right. And I wonder why everyone is busy being, irritated with them and dismissive of them as a phenomenon versus wanting to copy what they're doing. And so when my co-founder for Lambo approached me about doing a meme coin, I jumped on the opportunity. I'd already been writing about them for about 6 months or a year at that point, but I wanted to learn the process from the other side. And so that's how I really got involved, I suppose, as a founder.
So those negative, just to talk about the people who are negative on meme coins for a minute, those voices will say, they're pump and dump schemes. Or they're so easily manipulated that there's no safety whatsoever in them. What do you have to say to those traders and investors, not only to maybe counter it, but are there things that people need to be thinking about when investing in meme coins?
Well, sure. I mean, honestly, if you are an experienced degen, which is the affectionate term we use, degenerate, originally meant degenerate, but I've accepted it as we all have. And so if you've already been playing with crypto for a couple of years and you want to get into something that is at the high risk end of the high risk digital asset class, then great. Okay, then look at meme coins and don't get involved in a project that you do not know. That's honestly what I would say. What it really comes down to is when you are making, you're making a conviction play out of this investment. You want a team that you not only like and not only vibe with, but that essentially is more along the lines of a team that you want to work with, because that's what these meme coins present in a lot of ways. When they say ground floor of a project like Lambo, it absolutely means that. People show up on day one on your Telegram group, and first of all, like, told me a little bit about how to run a Telegram group, which was good because I really didn't know when I first started how to do raids and run the bots and stuff like that. And they become a fundamental and essential part of the project. So if you're looking to get involved in, like Ponky or something like that, you're looking to get involved in, the blue chip memes are a little bit different. Although I feel a little tongue in cheek saying blue chip memes, but okay. If you're talking Pepe Coin or Doge or Shiba Inu, for example, then great. They're honestly, it's not Bitcoin, but they are, in a lot of ways, Doge is like Bitcoin's dark sister. Like it has a lot of the same qualities. They are both staked on faith, folks. When it comes down to it, even though one has a lot more, belief from a wider range of people than the other one. So the thing to avoid doing is to just jump in on something that you think is going to be a get rich quick scheme. Sorry about that. And it can be parabolic. It can be very exciting, and it can be easy to get swept up into it. As an example, there is the meme token for what is the name of the squirrel? Peanut the squirrel, which went in the course of a week. It's at like a $1.7 billion market cap. So that's where it's sitting right now. But I am not a financial advisor. First of all, folks, don't take financial advice from me. But beyond that, even financial advisors would not really be able to say where this is going to go. Right now at 1.7 billion, is it a bubble? Yeah, it probably is. It's not the worst kind of bubble. There are other straight up scams that have happened in this space, like somebody who said that it was a Trump token a few months ago and got it up to I think 60 million and then dumped it the same day. Like these things can happen. There are still bad actors in our space. The only way I know to bulletproof yourself against this as much as you can is to do your own research, and rather than just say that generally, I'll be more specific. What you really want to do is check them out on Twitter. Check out the people who are talking to them. If possible, talk to the people who are talking to them. Join their Telegram group. See what they're like. Look at what they're doing. Look at listen to them appearing on spaces. Look at what they have published. It's these days it has to be more than being about a funny picture.
Yeah. So if we look at sort of the meme coins as a whole, a sector as a whole, what's driving the phenomenon right now, and where do you think we are within the bull cycle?
Well, I think honestly we're just at the beginning, and to some degree, I've talked to analysts that have supported this point of view. I think that the meme bull cycle is going to continue through 2025. And it really was as a writer and producer, it was one of the strongest narratives in 2024 as well. We thought AI was going to get more attention at the beginning of the year. You'd think, ETFs, these were important narratives, but none of them had more heat than the meme narrative. And I swear, in my opinion, I think a lot of news organizations as well as analysts are still trying to catch up with it. What it gives to people is the ability to enter on the ground floor of something. People who are already into the crypto space understand that they're not going to get in the ground floor of Ethereum. They're not going to get in the ground floor of Bitcoin. That ship has sailed a long time ago. So they want the sense of adventure and of fun and of possibility of, maybe you could really make something big here, of being able to be there for the early days of like IBM or Apple when it was still being run out of somebody's garage. It's the virtual equivalent of that. Then add to that the creativity that goes along with like trading card collecting in a lot of ways, really. Like, I mean, that's a lot of what it reminds me of. And the fact that, it's very comparable to the NFT cycle of 2020 and 2021, where you could just feel that level of hype was not necessarily going to last forever. I think what NFTs did wrong is they, in a lot of ways, became too exclusive. The purchase point to get in on Bored Ape Yacht Club, or like even Sneaky Vampire Syndicate, or whatever the top 10, top 20 were at the time, became altogether too high. And it encouraged tribalism between the different projects, because you're really choosing, $150,000 JPEG to buy. And I'm not an NFT hater. I'm not. I think NFTs are going to continue to play an important role. And in a lot of ways, the price correction that has happened is ultimately good for the space and how it ought to really be used. But I think that what meme coins are giving is the variety to find a project that you can essentially vibe with, a team that you like to work with. They're like independent brands in a lot of ways, where the brand is built before the product. So it gives us kind of an interesting little adventures we can take ourselves on. And like NFTs, I think it's also a form of self-expression in a lot of ways, except in this case, instead of, just having one PFP NFT that you make your Bored Ape, your picture on Twitter, for example, and it becomes sort of an extension of your identity. In this case, it's a little bit more like a character sheets used to be when I used to play, a tabletop RPGs, role playing games, where you've got, it could be a variety of things. Maybe you're the kind of person who wants to hold some BTC and wants to hold some Doge, so those are stable things. But maybe for a little bit of fun, you're picking up some Lambo, you're picking up some Peanut, you're picking up some more speculative investments, so you can start to distribute it that way. And I think that people are kind of saying something about themselves through their wallets that way, because there are so many projects out there that there really is one for every kind of personality and every kind of interest.
So on the other side of that, because the evolution, I'm sure, especially for you, has been amazing to watch. But is there anything missing from the space, or what is missing from the space?
Well, I think you and I had talked about this before. I'd personally like to see more women in this space. I'll tell you that. I mean, if I have 30 projects coming on one of my Spaces shows, I will be lucky to have one, maybe two women in that group. And I really believe that we need more women to enter the space, because, first of all, why would we ever want to? You have to have your projects reflect your buying audience. Why would we ever want to exclude 50% of the buying audience, or really like 51%, I believe? But also because women tend to come in with different kinds of ideas. They can be a little community focused in a different way. I feel like we run the risk, if we don't, ever take the time to reflect, of coming up with projects that have the same intentions over and over and over again. We need more of a variety of voices. I guess on the same note, although of course, I'm doing most of my content in English and everything, I'd like to see more of a global reach as well, because as much as crypto is an interesting opportunity and opens up opportunities for people in North America, it can really have a profound difference for people in other parts of the world. So I would like to be able to address both of those things, but a Chinese audience, for example, has to be spoken to a little bit differently than a U.S. audience. That can be a complicated puzzle. But I want to see more great projects coming from all parts of the world and from all different kinds of people. And I want to see the meme coin space have more self-respect in a lot of ways. I mean, nobody hates the projects, the Jeters and the Rugs, which is what we would a Jeter being somebody who is not there for the long term, but is going to get skittish and pull out as soon as he sees the opportunity to make a little bit of profit, or as soon as things go down. And a rug, of course, is a rug pull, by which we pejoratively mean all scammers. Nobody hates rugs more than people who are serious about the meme coin space. They make us all look bad.
So if you can, and just my very last question, can you talk a little bit about Lambo, the intention behind it, what it is, just sort of explaining that, what you and your co-founder created?
Right. So I started out at a fortuitous time at the end of last year, about midway through the year, where you could see meme coin projects that were about the art and were about, or the meme is being created and were about the attitude. And at that time, still not about very much else. I think that they've moved on a lot. There's a term that I've coined and keep using on my shows. I'm going to come out with an article talking about it as well, which is mimetic utility or meme-tility, because there's only so long you can hype and maintain an audience like that or a community without giving them positive ways to interact with your coin other than just buying it. In other words, we can't just be yelling, buy Lambo the whole time. That would be a pretty boring Telegram group. You've got to have things to talk about other than just posting stickers on Telegram. So I see a lot of meme projects taking themselves more seriously in 2024, and like as a trend that continued throughout 2024, and I believe will continue into next year. More doxed founders, more projects that start out with, a meme coins always have to have a narrative. They have to have a story to tell you, which can be completely fiction or part fiction. Often there's a backstory to the little character that you're following. But in this case, I also see more actual sense of purpose baked in as well. In the case of Lambo, we are here for entrepreneurs and builders, and we're looking to be a communications arm to the whole base chain, which is Coinbase's chain, and for the whole greater meme space in a lot of ways. So that's how we've kind of built and extended our narrative. That's the story of what we're about. But I find a lot of people are bringing some sort of utility into meme coins. That was very controversial a year ago. A year ago, if you asked meme coin projects, because I was when I was doing my shows, how much utility should be factored into their coin, the belief was that there should be no utility at all. The belief was that as a meme coin purist, you don't want to sully the thing by making it about anything other than lulls, basically. It was a very internet phenomenon. If you think of Pepe as sort of the patron saint of memes in a lot of ways, you kind of get the idea. It's for the lulls. It's to be fun. It's to put out this funny content.
That's awesome. And for anyone interested, you can check out Lambo at lambow.xyz. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today, Justin.
Thank you, Mel. It's been a delight talking to you.